Hi everyone, and welcome back to VoiceBridge Podcasts. I'm your host Veronica, and today we are diving into a really interesting and important topic: how culture affects self-esteem. Have you ever felt more or less confident depending on where you are or who you're surrounded by? That might be because of culture. Today I'm joined by a special guest, Lisa, who's here to share their insights and personal experience. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk about this topic. It's something I thought a lot about personally and seen in others as well.
Let's get into it. To begin with, how will you define self esteem in your own words?
Self esteem is essentially how we see and feel about ourselves. It's our internal sense of worth or value. It's the quiet voice inside that tells us whether we believe we're good enough, capable, lovable, or worthy of respect. It influences everything, from how we carry ourselves in conversations to whether we take risks or avoid opportunities. And what's important to understand is that self esteem isn't fixed. It changes throughout our lives and is shaped by many factors, especially our environment and upbringing.
How do you think culture influences the way we see ourselves?
Culture plays a massive role in shaping how we see ourselves. From the moment we are born, we absorb messages about what's considered good, successful, beautiful, or acceptable in our community. These cultural norms often define what behaviors or traits are encouraged or criticized. For example, in some cultures, being quiet and respectful is seen as admirable, while in others, being outspoken is considered confident. So, if your personality doesn't match your culture's expectations, it can really affect your self esteem. You might feel less than even when you are simply being yourself.
Have you ever felt your self esteem change when you moved between culture or communities?
Absolutely. I remember when I moved to a different country. I suddenly became very aware of the things that made me different. My accent, my appearance, my values, they stood out, and not always in a positive way. Back home, I was confident and comfortable. But in this new culture, I felt unsure, like I had to prove myself all over again. Over time, I adapted and even gained confidence in being different, but in the beginning, it really shook my self esteem. It's like having to rebuild your identity from scratch.
What role do family expectation and traditions play in shaping someone's confidence?
Family expectations can deeply affect how we feel about ourselves, especially when our personal goals don't align with what our family or culture wants for us. If a family values academic success above all, and you're more interested in art or sports, you might start doubting your abilities or feel like a disappointment. Traditions can be both grounding and limiting. They provide a sense of identity. But sometimes they also create pressure to follow a path that doesn't feel true to who you are. And that inner conflict can damage your self esteem over time.
In your opinion, do individualistic cultures and collectivist cultures build self esteem differently?
Yes, very differently. In individualistic cultures, like in many Western societies, self esteem often comes from personal achievements. Being independent, standing out, chasing your dreams. In collectivistic cultures, like many Asian or African societies, self esteem is more tied to how well you fulfill your role in the family or community, how harmonious your relationships are, and how much you contribute to the group. Neither approach is better or worse, they just reflect different values. But the challenge comes when someone raised in one culture enters another and starts questioning their own worth based on unfamiliar standards.
What about social media? How do culture's beauty standards online affect young people's self esteem?
Social media has globalized beauty standards, but unfortunately, it has also narrowed them. Young people are constantly exposed to filtered images and idealized versions of beauty, often based on Western norms: light skin, thin bodies, certain facial features. This can be extremely damaging, especially for teens from diverse backgrounds who don't see themselves represented. They might start to believe they are not beautiful or worthy unless they change who they are. And because these images are so constant, it can feel impossible to escape the pressure. It's heartbreaking how many young people feel not enough simply because of what's trending online.
Can cultures' differences lead to misunderstandings or judgments about someone's confidence level?
Definitely. What one culture sees as confidence, another might see as arrogance, or vice versa. Someone being humble and reserved might be misjudged as insecure. For instance, in Western cultures, speaking up and making eye contact is often seen as confident. But in other cultures, modesty and deference are signs of respect, not low self esteem. So when people from different backgrounds interact, they might misunderstand each other's behavior. That's why cultural awareness is so important. It helps us to interpret actions more accurately and show more empathy.
What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with low self esteem because of culture pressure or expectations?
I'd say this: who you are is not wrong. It's just different, and different is powerful. Culture can shape you, but it doesn't define you completely. If you feel like you're constantly disappointing people or don't belong, try to separate your true self from the expectations placed on you. Find people or communities who appreciate you for who you are, not who they want you to be, and give yourself permission to evolve. It's okay to honor your roots and also create your own path. Your value isn't up for debate, it's inherent.
That was such a thoughtful conversation. Thank you for sharing your experience and perspective, Lisa. I think a lot of people will relate to what you said.
Thank you, I really enjoyed this. I hope it helps someone feel seen or inspired to reflect on their own journey.
Thanks for tuning into VoiceBridge Podcast. Don't forget to follow us for more episodes every week and feel free to share this one with a friend. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep speaking up.